Welcome, YouTube, to today's Troll Patrol. I did a Troll Patrol yesterday, but no trolls showed up, which is fine because we had a nice conversation, and you can check that out over on the live stream section of my channel. It's available to the public. Just finished up a video articulating and explicating what I call the three guiding principles of correct sentence structure, communication, PARSE, syntax, grammar. How many of you know what those are? I'm willing to bet that none of you know what they are, unless you're a regular viewer of this channel and you've seen most of my videos from the past 365 days or so, or more, past few years. But the three guiding principles are the position of the peace and neutrality, the balance of the honor and the grace, and the maintenance of the rule one, rule equal. And what I do in the video is I go into great depth and great detail in explaining each one of those principles. I share the correct sentence structure finite mean of each of the words contained in the facts, i.e. peace, neutrality, honor, grace, and rule one, rule equal. I explain everything. I explain the context that it would be used in, why it's helpful, and how none of those other folks out there that claim all sorts of titles and authority, but yet don't use correct grammar, how those folks don't use those principles, or they claim to use it, but they don't actually use it, which is, by the way, would be known as avoidance of the honor and the grace. So look for that coming up either tonight, later on, or tomorrow. It's for the hardcore subscribers, the ones that are serious about the grammar. And hopefully, if you have not yet contacted me via email to apply for a workshop, hopefully it will galvanize you to do so, galvanize you to get serious, get committed, and learn this stuff before it's too late. I still get people that will write me an email and say, "Can you mentor me, please? I have a court case coming up in a week." By my experience, that is the worst time to try and learn this stuff, is when you're under pressure and you have a week. Because without fail, these people that do that email me without fail, they practically beg and plead with me to take their case on, to help them. Like, I have empathy for these people. My heart goes out to them that they're in this situation and they're kind of flailing around to find a way to deal with their situation. But on the other hand, that's very presumptuous of them to do that. It's very presumptuous of them to think that, oh, well, I'm just going to drop everything and invest hundreds of hours in creating documents for free so that this person, can deal with their case. No, that's not how it works. And I've said this over and over and over again. What you put in is what you get out. And a lot of them will say, well, if I win, then I'll give you, whatever, I'll give you a percentage of the settlement. That's not how it works either. Think about how much an attorney charges. A fiction attorney, well, there is no other type of attorney except for a fiction attorney, but think about how much they charge for a retainer, or per hour, or per email, or whatever, per appointment. Think about that. All right. And if you're going to apply that to hiring someone like me using correct sentence structure to take on your case, you better quadruple an attorney's fee to get something like that, to get me on board. Because not only it takes more time, more now space to create documents and syntax, I'm literally taking on the energy of your case, whatever that may be. I literally have to take time away from me providing, keeping a roof over my head, and feeding the family and things like that, literally taking away from that to help you. So you have to compensate me. That is rule one, rule equal. I've set up a construct in such a way to help people who are ready to learn this stuff. And if you're in the midst of some sort of legal problems and you're under pressure and you have anxiety and stress, it's not the most conducive environment to learning this. Matter of fact, I've never known anyone to learn it under such circumstances. It just doesn't work that way. And I'll bet you dollars to donuts these people that contact me have probably known about correct sentence structure for a year or two, but just never pulled the trigger on it, never figured out how to, or took that step to move forward to learn it. And now all of a sudden, now they want to learn it. So, again, my heart goes out to those types of people that are in those situations. But unless you're willing to put in what you want to get out of it, then it's probably not going to work the way you think it will. If I were to actually syntax someone's document and create a correct sentence structure document for them and give it to them, and then they take it to court, even then they still wouldn't know what to do with it. They still wouldn't know the physical mechanics of posting roads, navigating through those places with a C-Pass-C treaty or with your live life claim safely, getting through the checkpoints, getting through the ports, going into the foreign vessel and dry dock, claiming the well of the court, using the flag of the land during the time of the contract. They wouldn't know anything about that, let alone the grammar. Who's the authority of the document? If I syntax their document and I create a document contract postal vessel court venue for them, who's the authority of it? I am, not them. They had nothing to do with it. Therefore, they wouldn't know what the hell's going on in the document. They wouldn't be able to explain it. They wouldn't be able to give closure to it. What do they think? They just show that to someone and magically the court will disappear like I Dream of Jeannie. Like you just nod and wink and boom, it all disappears. Oh, nope, that's not how it works. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. It's a lot of wailing and gnashing of teeth. And again, I use the analogy of learning a martial art. In my younger years, I did 2 years of Shotokan karate when I was 18, 19. And then I joined a Puerto Rican boxing gym and got my butt whooped for years and learned how to box, learned how to wrestle, learned some jujitsu, learned some Muay Thai, learned some catch wrestling, got twisted into a pretzel more times than I can count. But all of that stuff, all of those challenges and all of that practicing gave me skills that you just can't. No one else can do it for you. Let's just put it that way. No one else can do it for you. You put that work in, that will always be with you. And you'll be able to share it with other people. Grand Rising. So now that we have some more people on here, I'll repeat what I said at the beginning. I just did a video where I share and articulate closure on the 3 guiding principles of correct sentence structure, communication, parse, syntax, grammar. Which, by the way, you will not find those 3 principles in any David Wynn Miller video, any Mark Schoen Christopher video, or any Russell J. Gould video, because they don't use them. The only one that you may actually hear mentioned is maintenance of Rule 1, Rule Equal. But even then, the person that mentions it does not actually do it. Let's see what happened, during the period when I was learning this grammar. My tutor Raven and I were talking about Rule 1, Rule Equal, and we were talking about other mechanics or principles that one would use in hypothetical scenarios, or scenarios that he himself personally went through, and scenarios that I also went through. And we came up with some concepts, and then I took the concepts and I formulated them into 3 principles, and then began sharing them a couple years ago with the public. And those principles are, the 3 principles are, the position of peace and neutrality, the balance of the honor and the grace, and the maintenance of Rule 1, Rule Equal. And in this video that I'm going to be publishing pretty soon, I'm uploading it right now, I go into great depth, great detail in explicating those 3 principles. And I also give I give correct sentence structure closure to the facts of the principles, i.e. the peace, neutrality, honor, grace, and Rule 1, Rule Equal. Because a lot of people have been asking about Rule 1, Rule Equal. Like, what does it mean? Like, what do you mean by that? So, after I publish the video, you will know what it means as it relates to quantum grammar. As you see by the title of this video, this is a troll patrol. I did this yesterday, but I didn't catch any trolls. So all those nefarious individuals that come from Mark lowercase k or RJG or from Australia, none of them seem to possess the intestinal fortitude to jump onto this live stream and talk to me. They'd rather just do a hit and run, leave a comment, and then never come back. Which is fine. I get some laughs out of it, but I do enjoy, speaking with them here live in front of you folks, because it is a psychological lesson also, in the psychology of how one would exercise those principles in the face of a malicious trespasser, such as a troll or a very rude individual or a bully, how you would exercise the honor, grace, peace, neutrality, and Rule 1, Rule Equal. The more you do it, the better you get at it. The easier it gets. And it just becomes sort of, fun in a way. And of course, if you have any grammar questions, you can pop them in the chat. Go ahead, feel free. If I have the answer, I will definitely answer. Unless, of course, you know it all already. Then, of course, you don't need my help. But I have to reasonably guess that everyone that's watching this, that most, if not all of you, do not have closure on the grammar. And probably none of you have done a workshop with me. That's something to consider. If you wish to do a workshop, you can email me at jasonmatthewg17@gmail.com. You can check my email in the description of the video. And I'll set up a 10 to 15 minute video consultation with you. You can ask me whatever you want, and we'll see if this is something that you want to do. Yes, trolling is, I became aware of it as a YouTube creator over 5 years ago, especially at the beginning, the first couple of years. I got a lot of trolls, a lot of people that just came on and were just so rude and nasty, just knuckleheads, just saying really mean things, like nasty, just insulting me, threatening me, mostly from the Russell J. Gould sector, because he seems to, um, how do you say it? He seems to cultivate that type of mentality, like a bully. Like, do what I say or else, it's me, the way I am, I really, that's kind of a button for me, bully. When I was younger and I was less kind, I guess you could say, there were times when I was out on the town partaking in adult beverages when I would purposely seek out the biggest a-hole in the bar and offer them the chance to bully me. And, well, how that turned out didn't turn out very well for them. But that's the old me. I don't do that anymore. Not physically, anyways. I've found more beneficial methods for everyone to deal with individuals like that. And some trolls actually have turned around and become students. It doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. It does happen. It all depends on how, the energy that you bring is the energy you will get back, but it depends upon you. Depends upon you. Like for the first time out of hundreds of RJG, well, not, I won't want to say hundreds. We'll say dozens. That's a better that's a better description of it. Dozens of RJG acolytes, cult followers, disciples that come here. That one came here that was actually respectful. They started off a little iffy, but they were respectful. And so I published their comment and I told them, thank you very much for being respectful. That's a refreshing change from the normal type of jerk that comes from your sector. And they remained respectful. Even after I sort of prodded them a little bit, they still remained respectful. So hats off to them. They are not a troll. They are not a troll. The trolls are the ones that come and they have malicious intent. They just want to stir the pot, try to get a reaction, or try to maliciously hurt someone with words, But sticks and stones, as they used to say. I'm sure the young folks today out there have no idea what sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me means, because they act like words are like, if you speak sternly to a young person these days, they act like you're beating them with a baseball bat. Oh, they got to stay home for a week because they're taking a mental health moment or something, I guess. Jeez. It's just the way society's going, Some of society, not all of society. A lot of people say, we need to save the world. We need to wake people up. I disagree. I disagree. I think the world's fine. I don't think it needs saving. If you parse the word world, it brings you back to the word man. And if a man is in trouble, the only individual that can save them usually is themselves. It's a personal choice. And if someone starts talking to me about helping the people, then that automatically, to me, is a red flag. It's probably some sort of money-making scheme, from my experience. From my experience over the last 5 years of doing this, over 25,000 hours, dealing with hundreds and hundreds of people on a one-on-one basis, getting to know people and things like that, I've definitely found that the only way, or not the only way, okay, strike that, stop and correct. The most efficient way to bring about positive changes or positive performances in society is for each individual to work on themselves internally. That's it. That's like the people that talk about they want to bring this grammar forth, bring it forth, and they go around telling people about the grammar, but they don't know what the hell it is, and they don't know how to use it. So they end up sounding like nut jobs. Like, if you would actually learn the grammar, get closure on it, certify that you can perform, then you can go explain it to people, and you won't sound crazy. And if they're congruent with what the vibe you're putting out, they'll want to learn it. If they're not congruent, leave them alone. It's a choice. Why would you ever want to force anything on anyone? Especially after the last few years here of this medical ridiculousness that's going on. Why would you ever want to mandate something on someone else? Contract is by consent, it's by choice. The moment you try to force someone to do something that voids the contract, it's an act of war. It makes you no better than the fiction system that you claim to hate or that you claim to disagree with. Makes you no different. All right, we've gone almost a half an hour here. So I'm about to wrap things up, draw the curtain, bring it to a close. Look out for that video I'm going to be publishing later about the 3 guiding principles of correct sentence structure, communication, parse, syntax, grammar, the balance of the honor and the grace, position of peace and neutrality, and the maintenance of the rule 1 and the rule equal. Those of you out there who are serious or thinking about considering getting serious, this video is for you. Ooh, we have a question. You have mentioned hard consonants, as in consequences, which make it a non-contract word. What other consonants do that? If you go back and watch the video that I talk about that in, it doesn't have so much to do with a hard consonant as it has to do with the hard consonant following a particular letter. Like if you look consequence, you have con, which means together, and then sequence. In the context of sequence, if you parse it, you will see that se is a particle of negation because it comes before the q. If you look up a word like service, ser, that's positive performance. Using an etymology dictionary for a reference. Like secret, sec, that is a particle of negation. So it has more to do with the se than it has to do with a specific hard consonant. It has to do with the particle se and what follows it. Those are rule 1, rule equal judge mechanics. You have to look it up and get the whole story for the wholeness of the scenario. But that was a good question. Thank you for that. Again, sum it up. It has more to do with the se than it has to do with a specific consonant. just in that context of the SE, if a hard consonant follows it, it's probably a particle of negation. If a soft consonant follows it, it's probably a positive performance particle. That's the long and short of it. Thank you for the question. Appreciate any grammar questions. Thank you for the membership as well. Thank you for the participation, and look out for that video and the 3 guiding principles of correct sentence structure coming soon. All right. Das Vidanya.